Hey, how you guys doing? Daniel here. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. As you can see behind me, it is Christmas 2022. And so, I love the holidays. I love the festivities. I love the getting together. I just love like this, this attention that we give to giving and to being generous and the holiday cheer and joy and peace. And but I also do understand that it's not like that for everyone. It could also be a very tough time, especially for those of us that have lost people that we love, or you don't have any family members around you, so I know it could be a lonely time as well. Or to be honest, it could be a lonely time regardless of whether you have a lot of people around you or not. Just recently, if you follow the news or social media, there was this gentleman, his name is I believe his name is Twitch Boss. He was an executive producer and a DJ for the Ellen DeGeneres show. And I don't really watch her show, but just recently, we found out that he had passed away due to suicide, right? And so I don't know why it really struck me, just because I don't really, I don't really follow this gentleman. I don't really know much about him, but it really struck me because I've had family members that have that ended their lives, and it's hard to describe, like what happens, the pain and the sadness, that we feel, the people that loved, those that have passed on. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to be a downer, but I just wanted to just get it off my chest, just that if there's any one of you, man, that you're feeling like man, it's just too hard to go on, or that it's not worth living. I know it's silly to even say, but I just want you to know, man, that you are worth living. I don't know about tomorrow, I don't know what tomorrow will bring for you. You know what I mean? I don't know what you're facing, man. Like, I don't know the struggles that you're facing inside. But maybe if you can hear my words to you, is that you are worth living. Like, you're worth it. You're worth it. If you feel like you cannot picture a future, like you cannot picture what tomorrow will bring, don't worry about that. Just be in this moment right now. Just hear my voice, telling you that you are loved, that you are valued, that you have a purpose and calling in this world. All right. And I know that it may be very, very hard for you to see that right now. It may be very, very hard for you to feel that right now. But maybe if you could take a word of a stranger, maybe this is a moment for you, is that you are loved and you're cared for, and that you're very, very valuable. You're treasured. And there's someone that is thinking about you, and like my hope and my prayer for you during this Christmas season is that you will not only feel it, but you'll be able to grasp just how incredibly beautiful, extraordinary, special you are. All right. Anyways, with that being said, just a quick little update. We're coming to a close. 2022 Christmas season is upon us, so Merry Christmas. Just wanted to kind of shoot the breeze, show you the state of my collection, and just hang out and chill. So if you find yourself just a little bit of extra time on your hands, go ahead, sit back, relax, get yourself a cup of hot cocoa, so a coffee or tea, and let's just let's go for it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this camera around, do a tabletop, and we'll go from there. On my impromptu tabletop setup, I don't really have a dedicated space to do my YouTube stuff, so wherever I can find space and time, that's where I'll set up and shoot my videos. So this is the, oh my bad, this is the Chris Reeve knives leather tray. I don't know the exact name for it, but my wife got this for me for my birthday a few years back, and it's been holding up really well. Man, everything that comes out of CRK, man, it's just top-notch quality, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, this is the, I guess you would call it, state of my collection video as of the end of 2023. I do want to do a shout out to the Vault Case Company. This is their knife, I guess, storage solution. Is very portable. As you can see, it's like the size of a large Bible, I guess you could say, but I like it because it's very is very, what would you call it, space friendly. Everything packs up real nice, safe and snug. It has a handle so you could kind of carry it around to whatever knife hangout that you go to. It's held up really well. I've had this for about 2-3 years now, and yeah, I love it. It's just a really great solution to kind of your everyday kind of gear storage and carry. So with that being said, you see all these stickers I just kind of collected over the years. But yeah, what I love about this knife case is that it's not only portable, but it's also very modular. So as you can see, everything is like velcroed out, and it's all like has these MOLLE kind of configuration. So literally everything will come apart, and you could set up your EDC carry storage however way you want it. So like literally, for example, at the top here you have like these panels, has all this Velcro in the back, and then you have this MOLLE. You could slip your pens or like your skinny EDC stuff here, so everything, like I said, is removable, and you could just, it's a great like show and tell kind of a setup, right? So even this middle section here is like removable as well, so you could just go ahead and boom, pass it on to your fellow knife nut for them to play with and admire your cool EDC gear. So yeah, boom, this is my state of my collection so far. I'm not gonna go in any particular order, but I guess first off will be let me go for the tried and true, man. This is the Victorinox, I believe, the Super Tinker. What I love about the Super Tinker especially is that it has everything that I need and nothing that I don't. So, if you know anything about Victorinox, they come with a lot of tools, right? A lot of different gizmos and doodads that, it's cool to have, but you don't necessarily need, right? So, for example, I don't really ever need a corkscrew because, I don't really drink wine and I don't ever mess with corks. So I just didn't really want to have that on my setup, but instead, I was looking for a model that, that would have kind of like the setup that I would use. For example, you got the very useful, screwdriver. What else you got? You got like your plier slash bottle opener. But what I love about this specific one, especially, is this little scissor. I've used this scissor not to cut everything, packages, lint, even it does well on fingernails. So if you need to cut your nails and you don't have a nail clipper, man, you have like one of these little scissors on your Victorinox. It works really well. It's held up. I've had this one for several years now. And you might be thinking, my God, Daniel, like you still have the toothpick and the tweezers, because usually these two things are the first to get lost or the first to go, right? But I've been very vigilant in trying to keep these things too, because these are very useful. I like to use a toothpick not to pick at my tooth, but to get at the little nooks and crannies, in your little knives when you have all that lint and the dust buildup. I like to use this. no, this little toothpick. Also, the tweezers are a godsend, especially when you have splinters or, dude, or when you have those tiny little ceramic ball bearings that are falling out all over the place. That's a lifesaver right here. So this is the Super Tinker. Love this. This is like my absolute perfect Victorinox Swiss Army knife. All right. The second one I want to share with you is actually a knife that I got to send back to Microtech because, yeah, it broke. No fault of their own. I think as many of you guys do, is I love to play with my knives, and I probably switched this blade open and closed thousands of times before the spring inside finally was like, Daniel, you know what, dude, you need to chill out, give me a break. And it snapped, and so right now it's not working. So, the great thing about Microtech is I've heard their customer service and their warranty process is pretty awesome. So I did send an email to them. They got right back to me. They sent me what do you call it, like a warranty, like a work order number. So all I got to do is ship it back to them. The thing about Microtech is they do highly recommend to ship their knives back to them via UPS or FedEx, not the United States Postal Service, because I guess they have issues in the past with them. So I'm gonna go ahead and send this guy over to the mothership in the next few weeks. But I love this is the Combat Troodon in that awesome I guess the chocolate Caracoat. I affectionately refer this to my Snickers bar because it is a beast. I mean, it has kind of similar dimensions of a Snickers bar, but this is the double-edged dagger, and this is a wicked cool knife. I love this knife. So anyway, unfortunately, right now it's MIA. So I guess the next thing I want to share with you is a tried and very true the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 in their incredibly popular canvas micarta and their crew wear. I'm a lifelong Spyderco fan. Spyderco was one of the first knives that I got into when I got into this hobby, and I've always had a Spyderco or two in my collection, regardless of how high-end or custom my knives get. I always have one or two Spydercos because at the end of the day, if you're just looking for a reliable, just tried and true knife company, I mean, you can't go any better than Spyderco. And you can't go any better than the Paramilitary 2. I mean, this Paramilitary 2 model has been around for a while, and there's a reason why it's still considered one of the very best everyday carry knives you could buy for the money. So this is, like I said, in the micarta and the crew wear, and their crew wear has held up so well. This thing is still screaming sharp, and I've used this countless number of times. I've taken this out on my camping trips. I've went swimming in it in alpine lakes, and it functions flawlessly. No issues whatsoever. Buttery smooth. I love the Spyderco, that compression lock, because it really keeps all your digits out of the way. So there is no risk of you shutting the blade down on one of your fingers. It's just fun to play with. It's definitely a fidget thing. I love the Spidey hole is like one of the greatest inventions the knife world has ever seen. It's just so user friendly, very intuitive. It's just, yeah. I mean, and I find that honestly the best solutions tend to be the simplest solutions. And so what Spyderco did was, let's just drill a hole so that the meat of your thumb gets in there and you're able to deploy that blade effortlessly 100% of the time. So Love this guy. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I guess since we're still, we're talking about Spyderco, here's my other Spyderco. This is a Swayback. Now, this is a very interesting piece. It's still, I believe, readily available. It may be discontinued, but I still see it on sale at various retailers out there. And the reason why is because when this knife came out, it did not get a lot of love, and I was very surprised because I think when it came out on their catalog, right, as like their reveal, there was like a lot of excitement over this guy, right? But when it came out, just various knife nuts, they were like, no, I don't know, it didn't receive like a warm reception as honestly I thought it would because, I got it and I'm like, wow, this knife is awesome. I really, really like this knife. Now, one of the gripes, one of the common gripes with this knife is that this cutout to access that thumb hole is like, it's not really well designed. So, yeah, it is a little uncomfortable, but, I've had this knife for about 3 or 4 years, and it's just, my thumbs kind of learned to, deploy this knife, and it's buttery smooth. Oh my god, it's broken and so nice. I have medium sized hands, and as you can see, I have a lot of real estate, and you think that like this weird design would be kind of uncomfortable in the hand, but actually this is a really comfortable knife. Like, I love this knife. And they paired this with the really nicely done hollow grind of CTS XHP. I love the Wharncliffe sheepfoot design because, like many of you guys, I am cutting open boxes or whatever, and I usually pinch grip my knife, and the sheep's foot Wharncliffe design really lends itself to that kind of cutting. So anyway, if there's any of you guys out there that have been kind of thinking about, getting a Swayback, but you're kind of put off by all the negative kind of comments or reviews, try it for yourself, because, I was honestly a little bit hesitant myself because, all I kept hearing was just kind of like this negative, feedback and whatnot. But I mean, I'm so glad I pulled the trigger, because I really like this knife. I think this is like Spyderco's kind of hidden gem. And here's my prediction is that in the next 5 years or so, when these are incredibly hard to come by, people are going to be paying an arm and a leg to get one of these guys. So mark my words, guys. You've heard it here first on my channel, right? But anyway, if it doesn't come true, it doesn't matter, because I enjoy it, and I love how they really contoured the titanium handle scales, so that it feels very warm in the hand, And this is a 3.5 inch blade, so it's not a small. It's not a small knife, and I think that was like the other criticism that people wish that it was smaller. But to me, I'm like, I like the 3.5 inch kind of that blade range. To me, that is, it gives me the comfort of knowing that I have plenty of blade to play with, But yeah, awesome. It comes with like that, what do you call it? That steel lock bar insert. And I believe this also acts as an over travel stop. This is a knife that's really easy to take apart and to clean and put back together. I've done it like 2 or 3 times. Super easy. And I love this knife. Anyways, so these are my two Spyderco knives that I've kind of kept around in my collection for a while. Moving on, I'm going to go ahead and bring this guy out. This is the Herman Knife Sting. Now, I don't see a lot of reviews or videos on this guy. I know Nick Shabazz and a couple of others have put out some content, and very much justified, because Herman Knives, man, he is, I believe, a one-man shop, and he's doing some beautiful work. I mean, nothing like crazy futuristic, but I mean, he just puts these really beautiful touches on his knives. I mean, look at this. I love this milling pattern on this. This like the sunburst kind of a pattern. But look at the, even on the clip side, you see that beautiful kind of that milling pattern that I did on the back side of the pivot screw. It's just gorgeous. Um, I love the profile of this knife. It's just so elegant. But really, I would say like the beauty of this knife is the action. I'll let you hear the action. I hope that sound comes through the microphone okay, but it's a very tingy, acoustically just beautiful sound that comes out of this knife. The action is incredible. It's just, oh, I love this knife so much. It is just, and it's just rock solid lockup. It has a full flat grind. You know, it has a little bit of belly and has a really fine tip. You know, feels very, very good in the hand. I love knives that have like a single or double finger choil. It just really locks in my hand when I'm just gripping it. You know, just being able to just, you know, I'm just rest assured that this knife is not going to slip out of my hand, that is secure, stable, and I could, you know, make my cuts confidently. The only kind of the little kind of gripe that I have is that the this flipper tab is pointy, so it is kind of angled outward, so it does, you know, kind of dig into my finger. So I mean, it's not like super uncomfortable, but you know, I definitely feel it after a couple of flicks. But you know, I'm gonna totally just oversee that point because everything else about this knife is just, ooh, top notch, incredible. This is in the M390. Now I've seen some of his knives come with the M398 blade steel. I don't know much about that blade steel, so if you know anything about it, drop it down in the comments below. But you know, he is, I mean, playing with some incredible, um, just incredible things. You know, he does really awesome things with Damascus and all this. I mean, some of his really high end, the kind of top grade stuff is just, oh my god, just out of this world. But this is what I guess you could call the basic sting. This is Torx 20, guys. I don't see a lot of knives that utilizes like a Torx 20 bit. This guy does. So rest assured, it's not going to be stripping anytime soon. But yep, this is the Herman knife sting. Um, yeah, this is awesome. Oh, also, I do want to point out it does have like that multi-row bearing system, and it is like free. The balls aren't secured. Like it's, so if you take it apart, the balls can fall apart everywhere. So just be careful if you're gonna do that. Anyways, though, this knife is really sick. Yeah, the next knife, let me bring this guy out. Oh, this is the Liong Mah Model 18. I believe he came out with this knife to celebrate, I think, the 18th year. Yeah, self-explanatory, I guess. But yeah, this is produced by Riot Knives, and if you know anything about Riot, is they're pretty much close to perfection. You know, the way they manufacture knives. As you can see, this is an integral, so one block of titanium that's been milled out, and this is in the S90V blade steel. Now, I'm not like, you know, I'm not like a sharpening guru, so I am a little bit hesitant. I heard S90V, it is a very extremely tough steel, a hard steel, so it does take a lot of patience and time to sharpen S90V. So yeah, but I don't know if these are still available. I believe these were produced in limited quantities, but just look at that. Look at that This is, I think, Riot's kind of proprietary milling design pattern. Um, it's like, it looks like waves, but when the light catches it, it just glitters. It shimmers. It's just beautiful. You got that Liong Mah shield pivot. You know, uh, the ceramic ball, pocket clip. You know, knife comes with all the bells and whistles of what are you know, of where the knife industry is today, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got that integrated steel lock bar insert with the what do you call it, lock bar over travel stop. This is what I believe the Loveless kind of design. You know, beautiful, beautiful. Feels very good in the hand. It is pretty hefty. It is hefty. I believe this weighs in north of 6 ounces. I believe maybe 6.2 or 6.3. So it is a hefty knife, but it does sit pretty slim in the pocket. It has a pretty kind of a compact profile this way. But this is, I believe, 3.5 inch of S90V steel, and I love the profile of this guy. Beautiful knife, beautiful knife. Yeah, I don't carry this guy as often as I should. Yeah, the action is buttery smooth. I mean, dead on centered. Boom, dead on. This is the most centered knife I've ever seen. The only thing is the sound, the acoustics of the knife is a little bit more, it's a little bit wanting. It doesn't have like a distinct like sound. It just kind of has just like a average sound, I guess you could say. I know that's what the knife community has come down to, right? We talk about acoustics and sounds and whatnot, right? But the action itself is incredible. Rock solid lockup. I've never actually taken apart an integral knife before. I know you just unscrew the pivot and everything kind of comes out. I'm just a little bit nervous of having to kind of put the ball, you know, the bearings, try to, like, you know, align it right and making sure everything's aligned right, and, you know, and I don't know, like, what are your thoughts? Have you guys taken apart integral knives? Like, how hard or how easy is it to maintain and kind of put everything back together? You know, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your experience. So anyway, this is the Liong Mah Model 18. Boom. Moving on, let me start to get into. So I love Chris Reeve knives. You know, I am a self-proclaimed Chris Reeve fanboy. So I think most of my knives will be moving forward will be CRKs. This is a small Sebenza 21 in the Insingo blade. Man, I love this Insingo blade, guys. It's honestly the most useful blade shape I think ever created. Very close to like the Warncliffe, you know. But yeah, I love this Insingo blade shape. It really lends into, like I said, that pinch grip, kind of the cutting style that I do often. But this is the 21. Man, I've had this knife for a while. This is my second one. The first one that I had, I ended up selling it, and I missed it so much that, you know, thankfully it was still, you know, Chris Reeve was still producing the Sebenza 21 at the time, so I was able to pick this one up pretty easily. But now, the 21s are harder to come by, you know. I do see them pop up in the secondary market, but, you know, it's, yeah, you can't really get like a brand new one off of retail anymore. Like, yeah. So anyways, I still think the Sebenza 21 model is the most iconic knife ever made. And so, yeah, love this guy. Love this guy, you know. Anyways, let me go put this guy down. Staying with Chris Reeve. Let me see. Actually, before I move on to the next one, I did have a small Sebenza 21 in the micarta and the drop point, and dumb old me lost it somewhere. I think I was carrying my baby, and it must have got caught on his shoe or something, and it dropped on the floor. And I went back to the place where I thought I might have dropped it, and I couldn't find it. And so so bummed, man, because to me that was like the perfect configuration, but anyways, if you live in the LA area and you happen to find a small Sebenza 21 micarta drop point, and if you are just so kind enough to reach out to me and return it to me, I would be so appreciative of that. Aside from that, for you that found that knife, man, you are very lucky and very fortunate. And so I pray that you use it well, you take care of it, and it'll take care of you. All right. All right. Let's go on to the Umnumzaan. So this is the classic Umnumzaan in the drop point, that beautiful harpoon drop point blade that Chris Reeve makes. Oh my God, this thing is so sexy. For a while, it's been really hard to get one of these brand new, but I'm starting to see these guys pop up at the various retailers. Most likely, they'll be in the S45 VN steel. This is in the S35 VN. I've had this knife for about a year and a half, 2 years now, and this is one of this. So this is my second Umnumzaan. I actually had the Wilson Combat, the what do you call it? Their StarTech Umnumzaan or whatever. It's like that sunburst one, and dumb old me, like always, ended up selling it. And ever since then, I wanted an Umnumzaan back into my collection. But it's very interesting because this is probably their most uncomfortable knife. It's not an uncomfortable knife by any stretch of the imagination, but out of all their models, I think this is probably the most awkward feeling knife in hand. I think one of the common kind of the criticisms that people give is that it feels like there's like hot spots. I think probably this tab that kind of flares out, and maybe the way the pocket clip is placed, it kind of creates some hot spots in the hand. And honestly, initially, I think that's why I ended up selling the knife, because it just felt a little awkward in my hand. But I don't know, there's just something special about the Umnumzaan. It's just very unique out of all the lineup. It's just the action feels very unique. The acoustics of this knife feels unique. Even the lockup, the way it secures the blade is unique. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this may be the only model that really uses that over travel stop, and I believe this is the first model that really implemented that ceramic ball lock bar interface that now pretty much all the current models are using, including the Sebenza 31 lineup. I believe it was introduced in the Umnumzaan. I could be wrong, but yeah. Oh God, this knife is so awesome. And this knife is really, out of all the Chris Reeves I've handled, this is the easiest knife to take apart. Literally, you have 2 screws. If you notice about Chris Reeve, usually it'll have like 3. You have 1, 2, 3. You have 3 in the Sebenza 21, and you have 3 on the 21 as well. So yeah, so this one has 2. Super easy to take apart and maintain. But yeah, love this knife. So I'm gonna speak to you. If you have a Umnumzaan and maybe you're kind of just thinking about selling it or trading it, don't make the mistake I did, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna regret it. Yeah, it has a little hotspot thing going on. What else? Aside from that, like, I think this is one of their best looking knives. Anyways, Love the Umnumzaan. Hey, you got this. Supposedly this is a glass breaker. I've never had to break glass. At least intentionally, I didn't have to. So never had to use it. But I heard that that's what it's there for. So hey, kudos. Anyways, this is the Umnumzaan and the S35VN. Let me go ahead and move on to now. Actually, let me pull out. This is my, this is really tried and true. This is my large Sebenza 21 in the, I believe it's a Raindrop Damascus. Chad Nichols Raindrop Damascus. As you can see, this is definitely not a safe queen. I love how Damascus looks. Just, it looks best worn, you know. So yeah, this has been a favorite carry of mine for a while. Boom. Yeah. Just, I mean, I've had this knife for what, 3 years, maybe? 3 years now, and it's broken in beautifully. Buttery smooth. I could flick it. I know we're not supposed to flick our Chris Reeves, but it is very doable because it does have this incredibly just buttery smooth action. Man, I love that. This is the large 21. This is actually a very special knife because this one was made on my wife's birthday. So this is a true keeper. You know, we always say, oh, this is a keeper in the collection, whatever, yeah. And then a couple months later it's gone. Well, this is truly a keeper. This is not going anywhere. Even if I have to sell all my other knives, this thing is staying. You know, I've gotten some questions from folks about their Damascus. How does it hold up in terms of actual use? It's, I mean, these Damascus blades from Chad Nichols are meant to be used, man. It's easy to sharpen. It sharpens up real nice. I mean, cuts material like, I mean, every amazing steel that I've handled. You know, I mean, it's just a really great Damascus steel. Like, is awesome. So if you're like kind of hesitant on using your Damascus, Chris Reeve, don't be, because trust me, like, it looks better too. See, it's kind of hard to tell in this light, but it's all like just, it's, yeah. I've cut through many of things with this knife, and it's held up incredibly well. Yep, love this guy. So there's that. Now I want to bring out, this is the large Inkosi, Inkosi Insingo, or Insingo Inkosi. God, this knife, this is probably the most comfortable Chris Reeve, at least in my opinion, with that double finger choil, man. It just locks in my hand like nobody's business, and it's just ready to rock and roll. You know, it just feels really good in the hand. To me, this knife looks so good. You know, that Insingo shape, paired that with that, you know, the Inkosi handle, and it's just like perfection. Beautiful. I don't carry this guy as much as I should, and I don't know. I think I mean, the action is great. It's buttery smooth, but I think this is my least favorite action out of the Chris Reeves that I have. You know, I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's just yeah, I don't know. But regardless, awesome. I love this knife too. Yeah. So this thing is interesting because it stayed very hydraulic, action like. So I can't really flick it like I can with, like, for, you know, like for this guy, right? Even the Umnumzaan I could flick it, but this guy, I guess, see, I am just proved wrong. So I can flick it, but it is a little bit harder. But it's a very hydraulic, glassy action. Man, this knife is so awesome. All right, I think that is No, actually, that is not all my Chris Reeve. I do have one in my pocket. This has been, um, this is my newest Chris Reeve. You may have seen this in the video that I put up. But this is the large Sebenza 31 in the box elder, and that now what I realize is a glass blasted finish with that stonewash blade, and to me this is the perfect setup for box elder. I did actually have a small 31 in box elder, but it was like that polished handle with that polished blade, and for some reason it just wasn't jiving with me. It just felt a little too just, I don't know what to call it. But with this glass blasted finish, dude, it is, ooh, man, it just contrasts that with that box elder, and it's just like, ooh, firme. This knife is firme, man. This knife is just, woo. This knife is so beautiful. And I'm just very grateful that I got this grain pattern that is just, oh my god, look at that grain pattern. Beautiful. I even got, these two little knots right there. But oh my god, look at that. The grain pattern on this bad boy is just, oh my goodness. What a sight to behold. Firme. Yeah, this knife is definitely been carried and used, and I love the Sebenza 31 large. I did like I said, have a small Sebenza 31, and I liked it, but ooh, on this 31 large, that's it. Really does it for me. The action is just amazing. I love that single click action, right? The Sebenza 20 had that double click action. 1, 2, right? Here, you have that large ceramic ball interface, and so it just single click locks into place, and you're ready to rock and roll. Oh gosh, this knife is, I do keep it, and when I do carry it in my pocket, I do keep it in their leather slip pouch, because I do want to kind of keep it in as good of a condition as possible. I know eventually it's gonna scratch and wear and whatnot, and that's cool. But I do like their leather slips, and I think with that wood inlay, it does kind of, pair nicely, right? Leather and wood, Anyway, so that's my latest Chris Reeve setup. I'm just gonna leave it right up. Bozamos. Let me see. Next up, I'm gonna bring out the Koenig Arius. This knife, it does. Goes above and beyond the hype. You know what? Actually, I take that back. It definitely meets the hype. This knife is everything that people say it is. It is an amazing. It's an amazing knife, guys. Oh, there's just no action that really compares to a Koenig, and just the sound that it makes. Oh, gosh. This is a big knife, guys. So it is a big knife. Let me bring out, if I bring out the large 31, it kind of is even bigger than a 31. It might be hard to see here, but yeah. So it is a large knife. So if you're not into that, then this knife may not be the knife for you. But if you are just, if you want a knife that is really gonna go above and beyond, you can't go wrong with a Koenig Arius. I know that they are also making the mini Arius, I want to say, which is like a more EDC friendly, a 3-inch blade. Arius. So that's really cool. But I don't know. I really like this. To me, oh, this knife is so comfortable. This one has something similar to like a double finger choil, except it's just one large finger choil that just captures your two fingers and just really locks in your hand. Feels very good. Just the titanium scales are rounded. Yeah, it is rounded. All the corners are chamfered, so it's just an incredibly warm, comfortable hand. And this thing has a really nicely done large hollow grind, so it cuts and slices so well, guys. It's such an awesome cutter. So it doesn't just look good, it just doesn't flip incredibly awesome, but it performs, cuts incredibly well. So it just really hits all the kind of the points that us knife nuts are really looking for, right? Yeah, just a beautiful knife. There you go. There's a Koenig Arius. Boom. And then lastly, this is the Hinderer Eklipse. This is in their Spearpoint configuration. I got this straight from Rick Hinderer Knives. From time to time you'll see he'll drop knives on his website. So, I would say just check out his website, and you may be able to pick up a knife directly from him. Or you could just go to the numerous retailers that sell Hinderer knives and you'll be able to pick up, you know, a Hinderer. What is it? See, I'm forgetting the model. No, this is the Eclipse, but I'm trying to remember the most popular model that he makes. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I can't remember, but this is the Eclipse. This comes in the S45VN steel. I did actually have another Eclipse before this. I had the Bowie blaze shape that was a Southern Edges exclusive, and I ended up selling it, and I just regretted it immediately. So I was I was looking to get another Eclipse, but these guys are a little bit harder to come by. They're not as readily available as like the other models. And shoot, I'm still forgetting their most popular model. Shoot, what is it? Oh my god. Anyways, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure you know. If you do, just drop it down in the comments below. But yeah, I picked this up maybe about 4 months ago now, and maybe 3 months ago. And gosh, I'm so glad to have this back in my collection. I am thinking about getting like titanium scales for this, so that becomes like a full metal jacket Eclipse. But for those of you guys that have switched out to full titanium scales, like what is your experience? Like, do you feel like it changes the action in any way? I'm sure it does feel different in hand, it may be heavier or whatnot, but let me know your thoughts on it, because I'm just really curious. I do want to get it, and people seem to really like it, but I just want to hear what you have to say about it. But anyways, yeah, that is the Hinderer Eklipse in the Spearpoint. Love this knife. It is definitely a blockier knife. It is really reminiscent. Oh my gosh, my bad, guys. Sorry. Oh man, it is reminiscent of like the Spyderco Paramilitary too, in that it is like blocky in hand, but it's still very comfortable. And the great thing, and again, it has that double finger choil. The great thing about like blocky profiles is that it feels very secure in the hand. Like in terms of like, it has like, I guess, less ability to twist and turn this way because it's just blocky. It's just locked in, right? And so it just feels very secure, very stable in my hand, and just, yeah, awesome. Now, this is not the best slicer, but it does slice. It cuts. It cuts well enough. And I really love this knife. I love this knife, guys. Yeah, it's such a. This is also a very good looking knife. I got this in the working finish, as you can see, the working finish. Yeah, guys. So, anyways, that is the state of my collection. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it went a little long, but as we kind of close out 2023, you know, this is what it's looking like, and I don't think it's gonna change much for 2024 because I am looking to actually save and be a lot more diligent and wise with my spending. And so I think honestly, this is probably what it's going to look like for a long while. And so if there is a new knife comes in, it will be because I sold one of these guys or I traded it. But honestly, I'm just so happy with my current setup. It's like really, really hard to get rid of any one of these guys, to be honest. It's just, it really, these all kind of fit into the kind of the EDC kind of things that I do, and I just find so much enjoyment in every single one of these guys. And so I don't know, like it's just becoming really hard for me to have to, trade or sell one of these guys. But yeah, I wonder, I'm really curious, like what your collection is looking like, for 2023, what's like your best buys? Like, what's your worst buys? Like, what are your regrets? What are you thankful for? Right. I'm just very grateful that I have, the opportunity to just be part of this awesome community and to be able to really enjoy these knives and talk shop with you guys on knives and gear and just life, I guess this is. I guess I'm into watches, but not so much into watches. But I do appreciate watches as well. So this is the Omega Speedmaster Professional. This is the older model in terms of, I believe, they upgraded these with a newer movement. So this comes with the older movement. I've had this watch for 5-6 years now, so it is all scuffed up, but beautiful watch. It's kept time incredibly well. It is a manual wind, so I have to wind it every day. But God, this is a classic watch in the watch world, as you could say. But anyways, yeah, that's what it's looking like. But like, yeah, I just want to hear like what your guys, where you guys are at as we, come to a close, like how you guys are doing, what your knife collection looks like, and just, yeah, how you guys ending this year. One other kind of new things that I've picked up this year was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I may have mentioned it. I actually was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before the pandemic, and then, as we all know, the pandemic kind of closed all, most, if not all, of the schools down, and so I took a 2.5 year break, 2.5 year break, and then I started training again back in September. Now, I did sustain like a minor knee injury recently, actually during Thanksgiving week, and so I'm out for about 8 to 10 weeks, just rehabbing my knee. But I'm very much looking to go back on the mats and training again. I do have like a friendship tournament at my school that's coming up in January, early January of 2023. So I'm thinking about maybe signing up for that tournament. But if you know anything about knee injuries, guys, is that once you seriously injure your knee, it really never is the same again. So I really want to avoid that, especially because I am getting a little bit older, and so my body is not it's not as agreeable to me as it used to be, when I was younger. So I really want to take care of my body so that I could not only just do jujitsu, but stay healthy and operational for my kid. I have a son. He's 1 year old right now, and so he's at that age where he's starting to just, run, walk, jump, climb, spin, fall, so I need to have my knees, you know what I'm saying? I need to have a body that is working properly. And so, I'm at that point in my life where now I'm thinking about longevity and maintenance and making sure that I have a body that's gonna really last until however much time God has given me on earth, you know what I'm saying? So, if you are doing jiu-jitsu, you know how tough the sport can be. But yeah, I love jiu-jitsu. That's aside from the knife hobby, I love jiu-jitsu, man. I love talking about it. I love doing it. I love watching it. So if you're a fellow, jiu-jitsu or a practitioner, or you train jiu-jitsu, drop, just do a shout out. Drop a hi in my comments, because I am as much respect. Jiu-jitsu is not like an easy sport. If you've done it for any period of time, you know that it's a very, very tough but beautiful, fun sport. Yeah, and what else? 2023, man, just been kind of what a year it's been. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, it's almost an hour, guys, and so thanks for hanging with me. I know it's probably the longest video I've ever made, but Merry Christmas to you. Wherever you're at in the world, wherever you're at in life, you may be in a very beautiful place, a very awesome place in your life, or maybe you might be in a very painful place in your life. But I do want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and that my prayer, my hope for you is that 2023 is going to be just the most incredible, extraordinary, just awesome year for you in every way. All right, not just in getting sweet, awesome, sick knives, right? But just your life as a whole would just be blessed and awesome, and just, yeah. So with that being said, thanks so much for hanging out, man. And I appreciate just you. I appreciate just you checking out my video and just hanging out with me. And with that being said, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Take care.